Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack because I'm giving it to you. I don't want it anymore. I just really don't feel like having this Impact Attack, so you guys can have it, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And that'll be it for me. You can find me everywhere at Opinion Haver, all the social media platforms, and yeah, no, yes, Impact Attack, a special big edition of Impact Attack. We got to talk about a go home show, and we got to talk about Emergence. And when I say we, who am I talking about? It's not only me here. I mean, we've got a special, the ultimate tag team partner. We've got. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What up? How you guys doing?
All right. So we got Brandon here once again. We're missing Colin. Colin's not coming back, guys. Look, let's face it. We see that he's fine and he can do whatever he wants. It's not going to be this. So I don't know. I guess the VBC is no more. Is that the rumors that's on the street right now that we're hearing? It's just the VB now. Is that what it is?
Let's hope they are rumors.
Let's hope there are rumors. A lot of rumors out there these days. You know, that's kind of the entire thing that keeps the wrestling business going is rumors. Have you heard any rumors lately? Any good rumors? You want to start some?
So, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. What do we want to talk about? Well, let's see. Is there any pertinent news that's come out over the past week or so that we haven't got a chance to talk about? I don't know.
I think they had the latest big band NDA that guy came out with like another 5 million.
Oh, another 5 million. Yeah.
This is gonna keep digging. I think cutting Laurinaitis was smart,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's gonna end up being a Cosby Weinstein situation. I mean, decades and so many towns they've traveled to. Who knows what's gone down and what he's done with who
Right.
and
Right.
who all was involved. Remember, this is the same guy who, I mean, also helped pretty much cover up a murder.
That's true. Um, Buckshot Kid says it's still VBC. Vet Brandon in chat. You know what? You're right. We don't even have to change the branding. We just trade the C out, right?
Brilliant.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like you said, it's gonna be one of those things where we're gonna keep hearing stuff, and people will start caring less and less because the big story's already been broken. But it's just another way of saying, or reminding everybody that yes, this era is over. It's not really coming back. There's not, for all those people that were like, Vince McMahon's gonna come back when the time is right. All this other shit. It's just like probably not. It's probably a wrap on Vince for the most part, at least publicly. Like they're gonna want to distance themselves, and maybe that will play into it too. Like maybe they'll only have the years since it went public back in whatever year that was. Was it
99?
01?
99.
99, 01, 99?
Yes, I
So
think yes, because Jarrett got it right before it. He said he jumped to WCW right around the same time and got me to still get his options.
that's right. You got the options, right? Um, even though he stuck a gun in Vince's face and held him up for money, right? Uh, so so yeah, so it's 99. That's probably as far back as they'll even be able to go, and that's assuming that Vince McMahon started paying people off right as soon as the company went public. He started giving women money to keep their mouth shut, like right at the crack of 99. I'm sure that wasn't the case. I'm sure it started, maybe a little bit later than that, even though there were other things that we know about before that when the company was still privately owned. But let's face it, the company's always been privately owned. I mean, that's the public thing is just an illusion. So yeah, so there's that. And I guess, have you been checking out the WWE and seeing the Triple H era uh, here and there?
I kept catching it when I can, but there's definitely been some differences. Triple H definitely leaving his mark on the product, but again, it's going to take some time to really let his vision flesh out and flourish, and actually see what he wants to do. Right now, it's just kind of getting the pieces in place and laying the foundation.
Right. But you can already tell some stuff is going on if you
Yeah.
know what you're looking at. If you dipped out of wrestling for several years and then come back now when you heard all this stuff, it won't seem that different to you, probably. Let's see. Liz says that the board wrapped up its investigation, so there's that. And the SEC is only going to care about from the point of going public. The other parties probably not. So we'll see, but that doesn't mean it's the end of it. We'll have the board finish their investigation, but you never know who else is gonna come up. And Javi says Colin signed an NDA to no longer appear on this show. That is not true. He did not have to sign anything. He just didn't appear. That's the cool part about Colin. Let's see. Well, while we're talking about the chat, we might as well acknowledge them since they're the C, right? So let's go, and we're just gonna give our shout outs to the people. I think we've already mentioned almost all of them. Buckshot Kid, Javi Uchiha. You're not getting your name said like that from me, so don't get your hopes up. Lab Rat, always here, first one here. Elizabeth is here. If I'm missing anybody else, no, it looks like that's it so far. Sometimes Google is, a little off. Canada Spaceman is not here. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. Canada Spaceman not here. As we're talking about Canadian company wrestling, and to not have Canada Spaceman, it just feels a little odd. But that's
it's not right. It's not right, man. It just doesn't feel right.
Right. It's just weird. But I think he'll come back and he'll check out, on Channel Attitude or the replay or whatever it is.
They might need him on the space station tonight.
That's true. I didn't think he ever left, but thought it was just
Emergency maintenance.
I thought his comments come from varying degrees of isolation and or oxygen deprivation. So that's basically how it is. And speaking of Lab Rat, he also brings up the Moxley kissing Effie is freaking out the fans. So, every once in a while something happens and then people get on Twitter and start saying things. I don't know. I wasn't looking at anything anybody said on Twitter, but I did see a little montage gif of some of the scenes from the match, including Moxley putting a sleeper on Effie and him starting to jerk himself off because he liked it, and then what else?
All right, that part's a little much. I mean, we've seen same-sex kissing before in wrestling.
Yeah, there was that. The old.
That part's a little much.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, it is GCW.
It is GCW, and they are a little much. And by a little much, we mean, can somebody please shut that shit down already? But, I mean, apparently it's, this is, GCW is the ECW of the current day, I would guess, right? So, you're going to see, things that some people consider envelope pushing and some things that people consider just shitty wrestling. So,
I mean, if it's envelope pushing for the sake of envelope pushing, it always comes across as trying too hard, and that sounds like you're trying too hard.
Yeah, it's
pun intended.
Yes, pun intended. Effie was trying a little hard. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Effie. I've only heard of him. I've never watched any of his matches. I don't think I'd ever even seen him before I saw this GIF, but I've been hearing about him for a while. So, I guess, look, whatever you got to do, I don't care. This guy's probably not going to get a real job, but it did bring up a lot of parallels between Joey Ryan and how people were saying when back before Joey Ryan was let's just say Me Too'd, then he people were defending what he was doing, saying, oh, come on, it's entertaining, blah blah blah, he's got his fans and everything like that. It's just whatever, people would defend Joey Ryan and what he did, and then
you're having people touch your junk. How is that not weird?
It's weird. Which my problem with it, of course, if you guys are knowing me, my problem is with the believability of the situation. A man cannot flip another man with his penis, so I did not like that. Nothing to do with the penis part of it. It was the unrealistic part of it. You're not gonna take a bump. So anyway, that was stupid. But people would defend it because they thought it was funny slash entertaining slash whatever. That's the other thing too. You hear that word thrown around. It's entertaining. It's such a vague word. You know what I mean? It's like saying it's existing. Just let it exist. Like, no, dude. It's entertaining how? So
You hear they talk about like, oh, if this were a parody of wrestling, yeah, if this were a parody of wrestling, that's the kind of thing you'd see on that.
right. This is one of those things. This is why
Like that's a
non-wrestling
Christopher Guest
fans.
thing.
Yeah, this is why non-wrestling fans. This is what they think all this stuff is. That's stupid shit.
That's what they point and laugh at. They don't laugh with it; they laugh at it.
Mm-hmm. And every time you're watching wrestling and a non-wrestling fan walks in, it's always something like that. Which is why some of us have, struggled over the years with ridicule from other people about you watch this shit, because it'll be plenty of normal stuff, and then all of a sudden they'll walk in on like just the wrong thing. Like they'll walk in on somebody giving birth to a hand or something, and you'll just be like, I didn't. This wasn't
A hand pal.
yeah. So yeah. So did you see the clip or any of this? Or are you familiar with Effie or any of these things that he's been doing?
I've heard the name. I haven't seen any of his work. I know he did. Actually, I think the Get My Go guys paid him to do a cameo for him for Christmas a couple of years back, and he just seemed like just kind of like just a dude who was openly gay, and that was that. Never really saw anything other than that.
Yeah. Well, I won't make any assumptions on him the way people, found out about Joey Ryan, but, anyway, that's just something that's happening right now. And apparently Cornette got a hold of it. So I'll be hearing his comments on that.
I think but it seems like there's like a whole new genre of wrestling dedicated for the sole purpose of pissing off Jim Cornette just to see how he'll react to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an ongoing joke on his show where he'll say, Brian, I trended again this week. Which is true, because I was looking at Twitter earlier. That's not how I found out about this. It probably was what it was about, but I was looking at something I was looking to see when the Multiverses update was coming out and to see if what time I could start playing it for the stream today. And it says trending Jim Cornette. I was like, oh, okay. Well, somebody must have done something stupid in wrestling. And lo and behold. So yeah, it's always fun to hear Jim Cornette's thoughts. Although I think that the bulk of Jim Cornette's thoughts, if I had to guess, are going to be more about how Jon Moxley's a disgrace because he's supposedly the, at least the interim world champion of a major company that's on television. And he's doing this kind of stuff in his spare time on the weekends. I think that is probably more so the focus of his rant. But we'll see when I actually listen to it. And
I mean, then there's a point to that too, because if I'm a major company and I see my champion doing stuff like that, like, nah, your belt's coming off.
Mm-hmm. Well, it will, because guess who's back?
Punk.
That's right. Like Mussolini. So as Elizabeth says, every time I went on Twitter today, Jericho's disgusting foot was in my face. Yeah, what was up with that? Like, Jericho.
This is the first I'm hearing about that.
You didn't see this?
Nope.
Yeah, there's this picture of Jericho. I think he wanted to show that like his big toe fell off in that whatever stupid match he had with Jon Moxley. Speaking of Jon Moxley, they had one of their stupid matches, and then when he was Lionheart, he came back as Lionheart Chris Jericho, which really just meant that he wore some old gear and whatever. It was basically the same guy, but yeah. So like he showed a picture of his foot, and I guess like his big toenail. I was like, I'm more concerned with the condition of the rest of your foot. It looks like you have a fungal infection on all your nails. That has nothing to do with with what happened in your fucking match. Maybe some Tenactin. I think maybe you could get them to be a sponsor on Talk Is Jericho. Get yeah, get some Lamisil, get some Tenactin, get something for those funky ass fucking toes of yours. And don't worry about whether your big toe's on or your big toenail is on or not.
Maybe you can get them as advertisers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Liz also says, I'm a chick, so I can say this. Moxley bleeds more in a month than his wife does. Well, you are a chick, so you can't say that. Feet are disgusting. Feet are disgusting, Liz. Get off the internet. You don't belong here. Everybody loves feet. Right?
You know what's even better than feet? Blue waffles.
What else do we have? Any other news you guys got? Anything else happen? Anything else we can talk about? This is a Ask Us Anything right now. It's a Reddit AMA on YouTube right now. Anything else before we get started? Because even though we've got 2 shows to cover, I don't think it's going to take too long. So we'll probably be all right. But yeah, so yeah, not a super eventful week in wrestling, I wouldn't say.
Nah. But I still think there's going to be more dirt to come out. I mean, there's decades and decades of stuff buried, and it's not just financial stuff.
Yep. I think for a long time they're pretty good at sweeping a lot of that shit under the rug and misdirecting it. I mean, that's what carnies do. They misdirect. That's the entire point of a carny's existence.
You know,
they
Jim
make you believe
Jim
one
you.
thing. Yep. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff we never find out about that will stay rumors. Let's see. Lab Rat said, how are the lights? Well, you'll find out. We'll find out about how the lights are. And Buckshot Kid saying, before you guys start, Vet, how was your package? The package was good. It didn't melt. I was able to get it safely inside in this sweltering heat. It's 87 now, but that's the good thing. At least where I am, it gets a little cooler at night. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll stay hot like all night. So at least we're cooling off during the night to get through these hundreds. I got 106 coming on Wednesday, Brandon. I don't know about you, but it's just not looking good here.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. But okay, well, I guess without any further ado, if you don't have anything else, we can jump right into the first of 2 shows that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the
Cross the line into Impact.
What would have been the date on this Impact?
8/11.
8/11. Okay, so on the 11th, we're going to open Impact probably with a package, I think. I didn't make a note, but I'm sure there's a package to start Impact. Just let
Big
you know.
package.
Big package. Large package. So we're also going to get, speaking of large package, we're going to get Kenny King versus Carl Anderson. I assume. I don't know. You know the rumor. So
With both of them?
No. I'm going to say, actually, I don't know. Anybody heard anything about either of these men's packages? Carl goes over with the gun stun, but who cares about that, right? Because as soon as like a couple seconds pass, Kenny King just gets up and attacks him with the chair. Like, as they're showing the replay of him taking the gun stun and losing, he's got enough chance to recover, and then he just hits him with the chair, and he attempts the Pillmanization, but not the Bullet Club. But who makes the save here?
Heath.
That's right, everybody. Heath. Yeah, baby. Yeah, he comes in and he hits his last call probably, or whatever. I don't remember what happened. This was days ago now. I don't remember.
It was, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about this? First of all, this opening match, if anything at all. Second of all, about the idea of shaking off a guy's finish to just attack him like nothing happened. And then thirdly, another, the guy that got kids comes in for a save. He's going to take down everybody. Well, if by take down we mean hit him with one move and then go in the crowd.
Yeah, they need to do something more than that. We haven't seen that, for over a month now? He just runs in, hits a finisher, runs out. Like,
Hmm.
how does that advance anything?
Well, because he said he's going to hit the last call on everybody, and he's going to do it.
Like, if it was one of those things where, like, you find him laid out and carried out on a stretcher, okay, cool. That's actually getting him.
Right. Well, he can't really get him. They got a big match coming up. He wouldn't want to. He wouldn't want to seriously hurt any of these people, would he? I mean, gosh, they might have kids.
Or maybe why not get interfere and get involved when the stakes are highest? Like, I don't know, Emergence.
Oh, Emergence. Well, we'll see if he does get involved when the stakes are high, because we're not there yet. We are not there yet. Liz says he's a ninja. He's doing it for his kids. And Lara says Impact Logic, which I can't disagree with. No one can. It's Impact. The logic of them still even existing is hard to argue with, but here it is.
I noticed too in this match they did the whole like they worked each other's legs, but then when it was time to run spots, they forgot they were selling and they went right back to selling.
That is called the Seth Rollins in this business.
I actually had that written down. It's not just a Rollins thing.
That's right. It's everything. You can do anything to a man's knee or leg as long as you grab the knee afterwards to show that, ow, I'm hurt, my knee. Other than that, everything's fine. Nothing's off the table.
Like I was taught, like if someone tries to Irish whip you if they've been working your leg, fall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you won't see that very often. No, not only that, not only will you run, but you'll do things that you post off that leg with, and completely require that leg for pressure, and you'll lift guys up on your shoulders, and it's like, you'll. It's amazing, the recuperative powers of the leg.
I guess that stuff doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. This doesn't hurt either. We do a quick a Shelley and Alexander package to hype up this title match. They want to get us interested in this title match if we're not already, and then we get Diener versus Kushida. All right, is our next match. And Kushida wins with I think it was a Northern Lights suplex or something like that. Some sort of bridging pin thing. Maybe the chat can enlighten me if they remember. But anyway, any thoughts on this match or the package preceding it, or just any more Kushida insights since you're now seeing him for another time here?
No, I thought he was, pretty decent. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't like as much as I like the Saban match.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they win over Diener, and nothing else really happens here. I don't think it's just a straight up match, right?
Yeah, it just seemed like time for all right, guys, we got this much time. Go out and wrestle.
All right. So they didn't try to get over anything, even though this is the deal is between the Violent by Design and the Triforce. Is that what they're called?
Hey, why not try to injure him and put some heat on him and have the guns run out for the save?
I don't know. Maybe they thought it would be too busy. I'll tell you this. Even if it doesn't make sense, sometimes I like when a match just ends. Because, God damn it. After watching 2 episodes of AEW per week and every other WWE match and NXT and all this shit, like, sometimes I just like when a match is over. I don't want to see anything else. So we're going to see a flashback, though, to Genesis 2009, when Alex Shelley beat Chris Sabin, back before he was, Goldberg, for the X Division Championship. So some fun memories there and some foreshadowing of, hey, this guy can win a championship in a singles match. That's basically, I think, what they're trying to say here.
As well as the guy who actually won the world title.
That's right. He beat a future and former world champion. So maybe Shelley can do it at Emergence. So, okay, Bhupinder Gujjar challenges Myers to a digital media championship match in a bar. I'm doing air quotes if you're just listening. Challenge him in a bar of some sort with, of course, now you know that this bar has got these hideous lights that we love to talk about here. However, I could see if a place like this existed that it might use lights like this and try to decorate like this. So for one time ever, I will allow this lighting treatment here on this. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that assessment? And what did you think of this little this little bar skit?
You know, when you bring it up like that, it makes sense. These do look like shitty bar lights.
Mm-hmm. It looks exactly like what some young guy would think is trendy and would try to do in his little stupid bar, right?
Yes. There you go.
Okay. Which is kind of a metaphor for impact in the wrestling business, isn't it? I mean,
pretty much.
So maybe we understand it now. Anyway, I will tweet a picture of this for you guys at some point in the future. Maybe right after this show. Who knows?
I just thought it was like this segment though. It was nuts. Like this whole angle of Myers trying to dodge him, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, you get the shot. Like,
yes,
that's it.
Yes, we had to wait, and the creative juices ran dry immediately on this. They probably wrote the entire thing and just spaced it out, and had no ideas, and then they just spaced it out over a couple of tapings. It's like, okay, now we ran out of the stuff we wrote, so let's have the match, and pay it off. So anyway,
that's where you have the authority figure go like, nope, this is where you do it. Then you do it in front of the crowd, you get the reaction, and yeah. Whereas that's wrestling logic, this is impact logic.
Right. And we all know that even wrestling logic can be impact logic sometimes. Okay, Eric Young promo in the stairwell with the okay, now what they've done here is as Sir Jam joins the chat and waits to be acknowledged, you missed the acknowledging portion of the chat, Sir Jam. You got to be on time. You see, to be acknowledged. But I'll do it this once, just so that, you know the rules going forward. But Sir Jam is here, and we're happy to have Sir Jam. Buckshot Kid says, all I know is I missed the last hour of Impact, and you know why. Yes, because you didn't want to watch it. Understood. Same thing with most of us. Yeah, so anyway, Eric Young's doing this promo. They're in that stairwell. They've got the RGB lights. Now, the saturation is up to NXT levels. Okay. Now, have you seen NXT and even WWE? Like you'll see this. This was on SmackDown with the Usos or whatever. They've got the same shit. They're doing the same shit in the big time. They're coloring backgrounds with these lights. However, when the WWE does it, they really fully saturate the area. And really bathe it in those lights, whatever light color they choose. And a lot of times the problem with Impact is they just put one on and stick it up against a wall, and it just shines like this little cone, this weak looking cone shaped, like, you know what I mean? It especially when times when they use actual like ambient lighting, like if they're in a hallway and it looks like The Office, like fluorescent lights are on, and then they've just got this little, it looks like a stain. It'll be like a pink stain on the wall because the room is fully lit, right? So yeah, when you're tall you don't have to be on time. I've never heard that, but I guess we're going with that for you, buddy. So yeah. Anyway, so now that Impact is, this is their phase of the war. They're like, not only are we not going to get rid of it, we're actually going to do it just like the WWE does. Let's turn it up. Let's even buy some new ones, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, anyway, but amongst all this, Eric Young was doing a promo. I don't remember anything he said. It's probably the typical VBD shtick.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was. The whole, this world does not belong to them. It does not belong to you. It belongs to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can basically do these promos, in your sleep at this point. So next we get Tiffany Nieves versus Killa Kelly, if you will. Yeah. So speaking of lights, she gets the red light entrance, like Kane or some fucking thing, right?
Or maybe red light district.
Red light district, red light entrance, big red machine. girl with red hair. This match don't last long. It's basically her version of a Masha Slamovich match, which is to say, not as good. And after the match is over, she gets a red light exit. So at least they turned off the light for the middle. We didn't have like a Fiend situation where she just wrestles in the red lights, which that looks disgusting. Let me tell you. So again, famously, I was in the building for the time they had the Hell in a Cell match where Seth Rollins, the crowd turned on him and the Fiend, like he hit the Fiend with a toolbox and all this shit. And yes, they had the lights they had the red lighting during that, and that's when, and how they paint the cell red now. So like the whole thing was just disgusting looking. I'm like, why did I pay for this? I can't see anything. So, yeah. Oh, so a hashtag, eh? Okay, so Sergey was suggesting a hashtag. He'd like to piggyback with me. WWE stop the face makeup. Hashtag no raccoon eyes. Well, before you piggyback on any of my hashtags, we've got to actually get the hashtag over. I haven't seen turn off the lights trending. I know some of you have been trying to help, but if you see that, you have got to retweet and you've got to get the hashtag going. You guys know how hashtags work, right? It's not just so you can make some clever snide remark about your post. You actually are supposed to get enough people doing it so that, guys like that Mark or whatever see it from last week and comment on it and keep the thing going. We've got to make turn off the lights a real thing. We're at war. You don't want to lose this war, do you? You are on my side, right? You are the HMG soldiers, right? You're not going to help Impact win this war. You're going to let them continue with these shitty Party City, light fixtures just laying around haphazardly. The talent could trip over if they're not careful in the hallway. Like, that's what you want to do? Come on, you've got to help me with the hashtag turn off the lights. Hashtag turn off the lights. Hashtag turn off the lights.
You don't need here, pal.
Yeah, you don't need me to do it. You know to do it. Do it. I need your help. I am once again asking for your help in hashtag turn off the lights. So Killer Kelly's debut. What'd you think? Any thoughts on this?
Like, what really separates Killer Kelly from anyone else? Like, it looks like they're trying, but she does not really stand out at all. She just seems like another woman on the roster.
Interesting. Well, she likes to do that, sort of MMA inspired gimmick. Which is now, she realized that wasn't getting her anywhere, so she turned it into a weird hotel slut gimmick.
Like trying to be like a femme fatale kind of thing, maybe. Like,
yeah, yes, a femme fatale. What a novel concept. Hey, look, guys, a deadly woman. Like, that hasn't been overdone. Whatever.
But if you're doing that, like, why not go with the full the full latex bodysuits and the something and the spy stuff?
Yeah, why not? Well, that's almost what she used to wear. It just wasn't a full bodysuit. It was like, of course you cut out the middle section of the stomach. That middle section. She basically had the Deonna Purrazzo gear from Emergence, except it was just all black. But yeah, so all right, well, we'll see where this goes. We have to see if this will get over. I'm not sure about this. Then we get an Honor No More package, and then we get a meeting between the guys and gal, and Eddie gives a rally speech. Again, this will be another instance of the hideous lighting. So I have a picture of this, and I'll be posting that. What's the hashtag?
Turn off the lights.
That's right. That's what it was. Okay. So we'll be seeing that. Then we get Madison Rayne versus Mia Yim. That's right. AEW's Madison Rayne versus Mia Yim. I just wrote that this was a match to give Mia a win. It's not really designed to do anything else. Madison Rayne is no longer going to be trying to get over because she's probably no longer going to be seen on this program. And therefore, the only point was to say, okay, Mia Yim got a quality win, so maybe she can win the championship at Emergence, and we'll see if she does. But that's what this was. Unremarkable, although I don't think they fucked anything up too bad from what I remember.
There was one thing that made me go kind of like, man, I hope Tasha said something about it, because what was it when Madison Rayne used the crucifix bomb and Mia kicked out? I'd been like, why are you using my finisher and have somebody kick out?
That definitely seems like a thing that Tasha should have said. And
it seemed like Mia got gassed a little bit during there too. Like there was a point where it seemed definitely felt like Madison kind of slowed it down and was giving her a lot of space.
Okay, all right. I didn't notice, but I'm sure you're right. This was a Madison Rayne match. I'm not gonna be watching this. I'll be honest, guys. Come on, this was like I was putting my socks on. So even though it was my day off, I was putting my socks on.
But there was a spot I gave him a move I started calling the clam slam, where she had her pelvis on the back of Mia's head, started smacking it down to the mat.
Oh yeah, well that's a Chell favorite move too. So I wonder. I don't know. Let's see. Sir Jam has a legit question as opposed to all his phony fake questions. Why does Madison telegraph her punches so blatantly? Does she? Again, I'd have to watch a Madison Rayne match to be able to answer that, but
that I didn't really take too much notice of. But there are some times where, like in training, that things you can do will help you throw the punch, but you forget to stop doing them. Like you forget to take the training wheels off and then you let it get into your actual in-ring work.
Mm-hmm. Generally, you want to, when people are throwing punches, you're not going to punch the way a normal person would punch in a fight or like a boxing match. You would just make the punch bigger, so you always bring it back so that everybody can see you throw it. That's the whole idea. The idea is that the people in the back row and the balconies and the cheap seats can see you do it. There aren't enough seats in the places that Impact is in that she needs to do that, but nonetheless, it's just pro wrestling usually. Unless you're referring to something else, that's the only explanation I could give you, because like I said, when stuff like this is on and I get distracted, this is going to lose every time. A Madison Rayne match is always going to lose to anything else, like a butterfly flying by, or I gotta check and make sure that my toenails aren't looking as bad as Jericho's, or any number of things can distract me from actually watching. But from what I heard with my ears and what I felt with my 100,000s of wrestling matches that I've seen, it felt like it was an okay match. So that's good enough for me. But
yeah, it wasn't bad. Just something to get a little meal of, basically a momentum match for Mia.
Right. Well, speaking of Chell and Deanna, which are now known as Vexed, that's VXT. It's like NXT but with a V. Yeah, they're gonna party. I think that's what I took away from their promo, where they're sitting on the couch. Now, this is one of those instances where you got a fully lit room and then you got a stain on the wall in the back. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like some water was dripping from the ceiling and leaked down the wall, and that's what you got. You got a stain on the wall, but instead it's really just one of those little lights sitting on the floor shining a beam up. So this looks like shit. This wasn't even enough to really make a point. It was just to remind you that these two women exist.
Yep, and one has a bachelorette party.
That's right. How did Chelsea look in this?
She looked pretty good.
Oh, all right. Well, that's the meanest thing you've ever said about her.
But then again, there's only you can see what, half of her in the shot.
Yeah, just half. But as long as that half, the upper half was was fine. Then we go back and we see Jordan Grace and Mia Yim bickering lightly, you know, in the ways that babyfaces might bicker about stuff, and we get another instance of hideous lights, and this will be the last instance of the show. But yep, again, just, you know, reminding, oh yes, we have a match, and I don't remember the exact verbiage or content that they were saying, but it was like they were kind of chipping at each other, you know, a little bit.
At least they're getting a little bit of heat in there.
Mm-hmm. And then we come to the Rocky Romero versus Speedball Mike Bailey match, which this is the reason why that Buckshot Kid tuned out the last half of Impact, because it took up a massive chunk of it.
Oh, man, yeah, it was
about 15 minutes all told with entrances, I think. So a good quarter of the show was devoted to Rocky versus Speedball, but it's essentially your main event match because we're going to have something else in the actual end of the show. So I guess they wanted to, you know, give these guys some time. Here's what I noticed about this. Yes, as Lyra says, my favorite match and wrestlers. It's just a perfect combination. There were less butterflies in the room as you know, during the Madison Rain match, so I watched a little bit more of this. And I watched enough to see, and part of what intrigued me is because I don't like Rocky Romero. Again, nothing against Rocky Romero. I just want to say that publicly because I know he's probably listening. He's a big fan. I have nothing against Rocky Romero or his career. I just intensely dislike him for some reason. So it's not a personal thing. It's just an entertainment thing. That's all. I don't begrudge him having a job or making money or even being on this show if he must. So that out of the way, I was curious as to see a guy like that who's, you know, like closer to the end of his career, his active career, than he is to the beginning of it. And then this other young kid who likes to do a bunch of dangerous and painful looking stuff. I was like, okay, how's this going to work? Because I'm betting that Rocky's not going to take any of this shit. And for the most part, I turned out to be right. If you watch this is like the most speedball match that you've ever seen, because I'm sure Rocky shot down everything in the back and was like, yeah, I don't think we need to do that, brother. So the only thing he did was take the ultimate weapon at the end, and even that, it was like he took it in a way where, like, as Mike was coming down with the knees, it kind of like hit him in the side of the arm and the shoulder instead of right on the back, so he just like flipped over. It was great. Yeah, Rocky wasn't having it. He's too old for Mike's usual stupid, dangerous shit, is what I wrote in my notes. So that was that. But of course, Speedball was going to retain. He was never not going to retain. Other than that, Brandon, what did you think of this? And did you see the same thing I saw as far as like the old veteran shutting things down?
Yeah, I immediately noticed that right off the bat when, like, holy shit, Bailey's actually getting pinfall attempts in within the first 5 minutes of the match instead of just, okay, sequence, get shit in. All right, finishing. We're going to start going for pins now.
Right. Mm.
Although the whole I didn't like the whole thing where he kicked him in like square in the face and still kicks out. Like, that's like right in the face, and that's not enough to pin somebody.
Yeah, face kick's not good enough anymore. You're gonna need to come in with at least 3 more Canadian destroyers, and you know.
I mean, that was a good looking kick to the face. I mean, it looked like it planted him.
You know, the problem with that is, and this is something that I don't think is talked about by people that don't have necessarily the experience that you and I have, but they're just fans, you know, the pundits, if you will, the other people with podcasts and stuff. It's like, sometimes when you go for something in a match, you don't know how good it's going to look, you know? It's like when you're kicking at a guy's face, you don't really want to kick him in the face most of the time. I mean, unless you've got some shit that you guys have between you, generally you're going to try to work a kick to the face. Okay. So what happens is, at times when you're working it, it may not look the best. So the idea is that I'm kicking you in the face, but then when you actually do it, it may not look that good because you're trying to protect the guy, or he may, flinch and kayfabe it or block or whatever the case may be. When he's taking it, and you have no idea how the move is going to look to the people at the time, right? So now, like you said, in this instance where he kicks him flush and it looks beautiful and it could be the finish, well, we still got 5 minutes left, so we can't go home here. I mean, if it was like just some random house show match and you were that good of a veteran, which Rocky Romero is not, to call an audible and be like, that's good, it's not going to get better than that, cover me, cover me, cover me, or whatever. But you can't. You're on TV. You've got time to fill. You have to continue with your pre-planned bullshit. So you cannot call the audible and end the match early. But there have been times where that has happened. There's actually one time, funny enough, there was just a quick story. I was having a match for TV and it wasn't going well. It wasn't going the way I wanted. And I got hit with a high impact move that wasn't the finish. And I was like, I told the ref, just count it. Like, I wanted to be done with the match because I didn't want anything else to get messed up in the match. It was good enough. Like, we only had like the only thing would have been left is like one more move or something, or a couple of moves. It would have only been like 15, 20 more seconds. It's not like we had like an extra Iron Man match planned out or something after this. So I was just like, this is good enough. Let's just go home now. And so it was a little awkward at the moment because they weren't expecting it, but I just realized, like, rather than risk this getting fucked up, let's just go home. So anyway, little vet story. But yeah, so that was that. Rocky versus Speedball. Any final closing thoughts on Rocky versus Speedball?
One of these days, something's going to go wrong, and Bailey is going to seriously hurt himself or someone else with that finisher.
Yes. One of these days, he's going to kick someone in the face. All right. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more later, if we remember. We'll save that for the end of the show. We should have done it at the beginning of the show, but I forgot. All right. So now we get the main event contract signing, okay? With Scott D'Amore presiding over it, and he's introducing these people. They sit down, Alex Shelley and that guy, Josh Alexander, and they're talking, and they're having a nice little chat, and it turns a little bit pointed. So a couple of things. There was a lot of talk, especially from Josh Alexander at the beginning, about Alex Shelley being inspirational. He said his first day in a wrestling ring was the day after he saw Alex Shelley wrestle. And he said, that's true. And I didn't know if that was true, but he said it was true. So let's pretend it's true. So Alex Shelley, very inspirational. He talked about in a business, in an unoriginal business, he was original and he was an innovator and all these things. And he's really putting over Alex Shelley in terms of, like, basically his importance in history, I guess, to whatever this modern era of wrestling might be. So my question for you, Brandon, for everyone watching, whether you're able to answer me directly or not, because you may be listening after the fact, but you can always hit me up at Opinion Haver everywhere, hashtag turn off the lights. And anybody in the chat can answer this. Am I that out of touch that I have no recognition of Alex Shelley's contributions to the business, or that I don't consider him to be an influential figure, at least in positive terms, on professional wrestling as a whole, or anything outside of just Impact Wrestling? Because it's not just Josh Alexander. Kushida said the similar things about Alex Shelley, putting him over, about how he learned so much from Alex Shelley and it's his best tag team partner. And, you hear people say these things about him, especially in these packages, which I understand for a package, but I also feel that they probably genuinely believe this. So it's like, and I've been around for the majority of Alex Shelley's career, and I've watched it, even though he took, like he said in his promo here, he took chunks of time off of it and was not active in it. So he's been in and out, but, like, am I that out of it? Like, am I that I don't know Alex Shelley, or is everybody else just like overrating him or whatever? I don't know how to really ask the question, but I think you guys get it. What do you think, Brandon?
I definitely think it's a bit of an overration. I mean, I can definitely see how he's had some kind of an influence, but not to the degree that it's being built up to.
Right. It doesn't seem like an impact, pun intended, that we would necessarily see from the fan side. It'd be more so like the guys around him, like the way if you like a guy or whatever, you put him over even if he's not the best. Not saying Alex Shelley's one of those bad wrestlers, because I was, I made the distinction before that a lot of times that guys that are really, really, really nice just end up being the shits in the ring for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it happens a lot. So maybe it's more in that sense of just like they've always liked him as a locker room presence and things like that, and he's worked hard. But as far as like innovating, like has Alex Shelley invented anything? Has he come up with moves that no one else has done, or is it did he innovate the tag team style of we don't need to fucking tag anymore, we can just double team indefinitely, like it's lucha libre or something, like, which he didn't pioneer that's lucha libre again. Like he just took that from lucha libre. I just want to know, like, where is Alex when people look back in the history books? What can they attribute to Alex Shelley?
I mean, as far as like contributions and influence and impacting of the business itself, like it would actually have to be in Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then it's like I said.
And that was just like, and they were like probably, and they were the first tag team in Impact to really be doing that style, if anything.
Well, if that's the case, then I have a lot more to curse him for than to thank him for, as a tag team specialist myself. But yeah, I don't know. I just wondered. It's nothing against Alex Shelley, even though I just, again, like this is a Rocky Romero situation where I just have absolutely no regard. Like he's not a needle mover for me, guys. I just don't care about Alex Shelley and his no facial expressions and his no charisma and his, his weird body language and his way too much shit in his matches and all this stuff. I've just never really enjoyed Alex Shelley, much like Josh Alexander says here. I was always a Chris Sabin guy until I started covering Impact and Chris Sabin was Goldberg 98. But before he was Goldberg 98, I was more on the Chris Sabin. I was like, I could see them doing something with him as a young up-and-coming guy. Buckshot Kid says he is great at being forgettable. I don't know. I'm trying to be fair to him, though. Like, I'm not trying to take a shot at Alex Shelley. I'm trying to be fair because even though I personally don't like him, I'm just asking, did I miss something along the way? Like, what can anybody say to support the statement that Josh Alexander made? Because I think it comes from a greater place than just trying to hype up this main event, if that makes sense. But despite my absolute apathy towards Alex Shelley and him using the term mark at the end of this promo, overall, this was, for me, one of the best contract signings I can ever remember seeing. Like what they said, how they said it to each other. They sound like they meant it. They were talking about real things. And they didn't cross over the line where they're winking at, where they're winking at the fans and other than that one time he said Mark, he said you're an Alex Shelley Mark or whatever. He could have just said fan right there, and it would have been fine. But this was I thought this was a good promo from both guys. So again, in the interest of fairness, I liked pretty much everything about this. I also liked that somebody didn't go through a table. That's also a plus because when you which is exactly why when I talk about the hot shotting, when I talk about AEW, when I talk about WWE trying to be too exciting, like it sounds like the counterintuitive, like guys, stop trying to make your wrestling show so exciting. And this is exactly why, because when somebody doesn't end up going through a table in a contract signing, when it's become a meme at this point, we're all like, oh, it's a contract signing, someone's going through a table. Like, we all just expect it. Now when somebody just walks away getting the last word and leaves the other guy sitting there, it's like, oh, that's different and refreshing. Well, no, that should be the normal thing. And then every once in a great while, it should erupt into violence. But when it, whatever you don't get, that's the more savory, succulent, delicious morsel. It's what you're not getting that you want, right?
Yep. Impact actually made fun of that a long time ago, and they did a contract signing between Mick Foley and Kevin Nash. They did it. They finished the segment, and Foley was like, "Well, we're not done yet." And that's what we're talking about. Nobody's gone through the table yet. And Nash says, "Well, they don't pay me enough for that." So Foley just shrugs his shoulders, jumps through it himself.
Great. Well, two legends of the business that made millions and millions, and they were doing shit like that at TNA because they didn't give a fuck back then either. That's great. I love hearing that. Shit. Fuck. God damn it. Wow. Impact really has come a long way. Oh boy. Well, anyway, any other closing thoughts on this contract signing in particular? Do you agree with my sentiments that these two guys did a good job in this and kind of made me a little more interested in the match? I was thinking about putting my socks on and watching a butterfly fly past when they had their match at Emergence, but this made me say, oh, maybe I'll watch. Maybe I'll pay attention to their match.
I definitely agree. Like, it felt like they were speaking truths that they believed. And I do think that, at least in this situation, Mark was usable because it was built up into the context of the whole thing that they were putting together, the whole promo and the whole back and forth, and the fact the way that Alexander kept building him up and basically kind of kissing his ass, the term Mark kind of worked, at least in this situation.
Yeah, but
it seemed like oh, sorry,
I was gonna say it doesn't work simply because people don't talk like that. So you don't want to use the language that people don't use to expose the business. But again, like if I'm comparing him saying Mark, which trust me, when I talk to real casual wrestling fans that exist in the real world, not the made up ones that people always refer to, the mythical casual fan, but when I talk to actual real world casual wrestling fans, there's not one of them that would know what that word means, and they're wrestling fans. So they get confused if you say it. So you can imagine what a normal person would. Now, obviously, nobody normal's watching Impact. Let's be honest about that. Nope, you got to have a screw loose or be a hardcore wrestling fan. So you're gonna be catering to your audience. But what do we always say, Brandon? If you, in the words of Dutch Mantel, if you always do what you always did, then you always get what you always got. So, I say you put a blemish on an otherwise perfect segment, and all you had to do is just say, fanboy or fan or something that people would actually say.
Ooh, how about simp?
Simp, that's another good one. But either way, if we're comparing this to Mick Foley jumping through a table just because he's making fun of contract signings, I'll take this. I'll take Mark. So anything else to wrap that up?
I mean, I definitely liked the way that Alex Shelley kind of pounced on that. Like, he took notice of how, like, oh, I'm going to use his fandom against me or against him. Like, he came across like a veteran smelling like a shark smelling blood in the water.
Yes, this could be his time. Will he emerge as the Impact Wrestling World Champion? Let's find out.
We shall see.
Let's find out right now. There's no waiting. We'll find out right now. That was the Go Home show, and home is now. We're home. Here we go. Emergence. Countdown. For the Digital Media Championship. Bhupinder Gujjar versus the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. This is free on YouTube for anybody that wants to watch. Gujjar eats the exposed middle turnbuckle into a schoolboy for his first loss. Is that correct? Has he not lost before?
I think at the very least his first actual pinfall.
Yeah, I don't remember him losing a match yet, but In any case, yes, this was a basic match, and Gudra still looks pretty decent in there. Um, Brian Myers was doing his normal, basic vanilla ice cream wrestling match, complete with chin lock at the 4 minute mark or whatever. So, that's pretty much what you're going to get. Did you actually get a chance to catch this?
I unfortunately did not. I was working all weekends.
Oh, so you didn't see any of this?
No,
So
unfortunately, no.
not just the countdown show, but you didn't see anything. Okay. All right. Well, now I know. Well, this is still free on YouTube. So Vexed versus Taya and Rosemary for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Free on YouTube. Guys, please. It's free. Vex had the nice matching gear, which I referenced earlier. They, they've got their little, the bikini top with the shorts, and that looks good on Chelsea. And on Deanna, well, Deanna's a really good wrestler, So this was an okay match. They didn't really, for me, they didn't really capitalize on the dynamic in any satisfying way. I mean, they tried to get Jessica involved, so that she would end up costing them the match. But the way they did it, it just didn't seem that. There was some awkward stuff toward the end during the finish. Didn't really come off, I don't think, the way it planned. It just looked weird. I don't know. They could have come up with something better and more simple than whatever they did. But the distraction did come in. The whole idea being that because Jessica and Taya are on a different page than Rosemary is or wants them to be on, that they weren't able to get the job done, and they actually lost their titles. That's the story they were trying to tell. They eventually got there. It didn't work great. But yeah. So new champs. And we'll see what happens with Vex going forward. Literally in this pay-per-view, we'll see what happens with them going forward. But for now, we've already lost the tag team titles from Decay. So what do you think?
Where I'd like to see this go is have it basically keep building up Vex as strong tag champs, just keep having them keep beating people, and then tell the story with Decay and Taya with them trying to get on the same page, Jessica trying to make things up to them and not working, and eventually it looks like they're not going to get back together, and then they do the thing where they do, and then they win the belts back.
All right, well, let's see if they do it. Meanwhile, over in the chat, Labrat says Dakota Kai looks like a Neapolitan ice cream sandwich, which normally that sounds pretty good right now, but I don't know if I want a Dakota Kai flavored Neapolitan ice cream sandwich. Just saying. All right, so now we get into the main show of Emergence. We're going to open with, we announced this match, Jack Evans versus Mike Bailey for the X Division Championship. So Jack Evans. Jack Evans is the story of this match, because he comes out and he appears to be on the gas, and the reason I say that is because he's bigger than I remember him being last time I saw him. He also has more body acne than he did last time I saw him. And he was sweaty before the match started. So, like, when he comes out, at first you could just think, oh, he just threw some water on his head or whatever. But based on the way he looked, it looked more sweaty. And the match wasn't even a minute in, and he was breathing heavily. So
that does not sound like Jack Evans.
No. Well, it sounds like Jack Evans if we're talking about substance abuse. Jack Evans, he looked very unhealthy in this match in terms of just his overall look and how quickly he gassed out, which because he was gassed up. That's just speculation on my part. Obviously, I don't know anything. What would I know about wrestlers, wrestling, and drug abuse or whatever? But I'm just saying, even if that's not the case, he didn't look healthy. This was like maybe a couple notches below Hall of Fame Ultimate Warrior. He just looked really sweaty. Water makes you sweat, Vet, especially in Florida. Yeah, apparently. Unfortunately, this was not in Florida. This was in Chicago. So, yeah. Anyway, it didn't affect him in the match. Mechanically, he seemed fine. Like he did all of his moves, and he seemed to be doing them crisp enough. He just looked very exhausted. So I'm worried about his heart. I hope he, takes it easy or whatever. I'm sure he also hasn't been in the ring in a while. They probably just said, "Hey, Jack Evans, can you do this match?" And he's like, "Sure." And then he's like, "Oh shit, now I got to do a match." So, but yeah, if you know the telltale signs, like I was a little bit worried about him, but luckily nothing happened in this match really. They did all their requisite flips, and Bailey won with the ultimate weapon. And Jack did not take it like Rocky Romero. He took it the full body on the back. So hopefully that didn't add to any of whatever problems that he's going through right now. Like
I will say that at least they're doing a decent job protecting his finisher.
I mean, they are protecting his finisher. His finisher isn't protecting anybody, but he's definitely protecting his finisher. So yeah, he wins. So Jack Evans got his payday. Let's hope he's not spending it on whatever made him look like he was about to die before he got in the ring. I don't particularly have any like fan love for Jack Evans, but as a human, empathetic human being, I don't want to hear a story about Jack Evans, waking up dead somewhere. Next is an Honor No More pep rally. As a Buckshot Kid said, he was supposed to be at the last pay-per-view. But anyway, pep rally. This goes beyond bad lighting here. This is why I wish you had seen it, Brandon, because I could ask you what you thought, or maybe I'll ask anybody else who saw this. This is not just like they stuck a couple lights in the room. Yes, there were those, but this would look like. Remember when you were a kid and you got the TV remote and you'd play around with it and you'd move the tint bar and you could move it all the way green or all the way red? This looked like somebody moved the shit all the way red. Like everything was oversaturated, dark, red. I was wondering if this was just like, was this something they were doing on purpose, or was it something with my feed, like that I was watching this on, where there was like some issues, some video issues. However, every time they go back to the arena, it looked normal. So like the live matches or whatever looked normal, but the pre-tape stuff, some of it, including this, looked oversaturated. So if anybody else saw that and knows what I'm talking about, maybe you could comment on that in the chat right now. But anyway, this is just like I said, an Honor No More pep rally. The usual stuff that they always do. Everybody gets like a few seconds, and then it looks like we're gonna get Sami Callihan versus Burt Macklin, FBI, and we're gonna start the match with brawling in the aisles, and then they keep fighting, and then they go to a package for the Violent by Design tag team match. Like this was going to be the match. They came out with the entrances. So in the middle of the brawling before the match starts, they're just like, let's go to a different match. Let's not get this under control. Let's go to a different match. So we get a package for the Violent by Design match. And this package was just as oversaturated as and the one before this, they had a package for Sammy and Burt and Moose and everything like that. And all these looked oversaturated as well. So I was like, is this a theme is this the Emergence theme, is oversaturation? I don't know. But yes, after the package, so let's recap the events. Honor No More vignette. Sami Callihan entrance, Burt Macklin entrance, brawling, Violent by Design versus Triforce. Oh, no, excuse me. I got that wrong. Honor No More pep rally, then package for Sammy and Burt. Then, in the middle of fighting, a package for Triforce versus Violent by Design. And then we get Violent by Design versus Triforce. They just come out. as Sammy and Bert fight off like somewhere, and security tries to get a hold of it.
This is, I think something been done before. You have the out of control fight where it spills out of the ring. Oh, we can't get it out of control. They're fighting. We can't. The show's got to go on. Next match.
Yeah, it was like that, but even more awkward. Anyway, so in this tag team match, I rested my eyes for a moment, but I saw Eric Young win with a pile driver on Sabin. So, maybe he's not. Maybe this is not Goldberg '98 anymore. Maybe this is Goldberg.
99?
Maybe Goldberg Power Plant. He's puking in a bucket now. So yeah. Yeah, not much to say here. It was just your basic tag team match and pile driver on Sabin. Then we get vexed with Gia, who has lighter hair, and there's no music underneath. They're giving the new champ speech where they say, "We're the new champs," and then that's it. And then Kenny King goes to the ring, and I'm like, what is this about? And then he has an in-ring promo, and he calls out Heath. Okay, and then while he's in the ring, and Kenny's in the ring waiting for Heath to come out, and then Bert and Sammy show back up in the crowd fighting amongst the fans in the upper level, I think. And then while Kenny King's looking at that, then Heath slides in, and of course, the wake-up call. The wake-up call! Even though he already got Kenny King. Because, remember we just talked about it?
Yeah, isn't this like the second or like the third time he's gotten him?
I guess Kenny King just not staying down. I mean, he's not being hospitalized, so Heath's got to keep hitting him with his one move that's essentially the most basic, flat back bump that every wrestler takes is Heath Slater's finish. And, Kenny King's just not staying down for it.
Do you owe him money or something?
Maybe he said he was going to buy the kids something, and he didn't. He flaked on it. I don't know. So now Heath, of course Heath escapes up in the crowd. And Gia goes out to the crowd. That's dangerous, Gia. Don't go in a fucking Chicago wrestling fan crowd, okay? But anyway, there's no music. So that's
at least not about a hazmat suit.
Yeah, well, then we wouldn't be able to see Gia's new hair color. So he says he'll be waiting, like, if they still exist after tonight, he'll be waiting for Honor No More. And, he's going to hit his flat back bump move on every single one of them. So
Again.
Now we get a AAA attraction match. That's Spanish for attraction. Or maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I didn't look it up. But it's Rey Oris versus Bandito. And these guys flipped at each other for several minutes until Bandito hit the 21 plex for the win. I don't think I can cover it any more clearly and concisely than that, because to try to recount what happened in this is a fool's errand. I did think it was heavily in Bandito's favor. Like, this whole thing was designed to get over Bandito. Rey Oris has never been that impressive to me among luchadors. He just seems like a guy that's there. He's just like a base. I don't think he does. He does do some flips. Not as much as the other guys, though. I think he's just there to let people flip at him. That's his role, I guess. I could be wrong. Any Rey Oris fans, feel free to correct me. But in this match, at least, he definitely just seemed to be providing the base for Bandito's craziness. And Bandito does some crazy stuff. Not the craziest ever in this match, but he's done some crazy stuff and will continue to do some crazy stuff. He didn't do his fucking moonsaulting world's strongest slam thing that he does in this match. Which my favorite thing Colt Cabana's ever done in his life is when Bandito did that at one of the All Out or All In or Double or Nothing, whatever it was back before AEW was a thing, and Colt Cabana's on commentary and Bandito does that moonsaulting power slam thing, and he's just like, Colt Cabana's like, that's not a real move. But it was. So anyway, now we finally get, some moose with Gia and no music underneath. And he's in there saying like, for the last time, me and Steve Macklin is not a thing. And he said, we're not an alliance. We're not tag team partners. We're not even friends. And then, of course, Moose gets hit because the brawl comes through here, and Sammy and Bert are fighting. And Moose just gets involved right away and starts beating the shit out of Sammy Callahan alongside of Bert. And then, that spills past the prominently placed floodlights, which are right there in the scene. And when I tweet one of these pictures, I'm going to circle it, because as you saw Moose and Gia standing there, anybody that saw this will remember there was just this big blue light on the wall, like a flashlight shining on it. So they're standing in front of a blue circle. And it's like, what? And then I caught the culprit, so I will circle that. And then they find another couple of lights that are sitting around. So yeah. D'Lo. So they fight out back into the arena through the entranceway, and then D'Lo comes out and he sends more guards, and then D'Amore comes out and he's like, this was so silly, me thinking that we were just gonna have a regular match. This is now a no DQ match, and then it's a no DQ match. Oh, but Moose is banned from ringside, so fuck you, Moose. Get out of here. Yeah, Moose better be injured, bro. There's no excuse for having this little Moose on the show. Former champion. So yeah, this is already disappointing. But we get Bert versus Sammy take 2. And when there's no rules and anything goes, and you can literally grab a hold of anything and do anything that you want, what's the first thing that you would do in this situation? Because I know if it was me, I'd say forget everything else. I'm going to hit this guy with a knife edge chop. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to slap him in the titties, boy, because anything goes, baby. I'm crazy. I'm Sammy Callahan. I'm the death machine. I'll hit you in the tits. Like, that's exactly what I'd do first. So we do that.
If I'm Sammy Callahan, Death Machine, I can do whatever I want. First thing I'm going to do is I'm kicking you in the ball so you're down, for me to grab the next first thing I can find to hit you over the head with, to keep you down even longer, to find the next thing I can hit you with, and just keep going.
Well, it's a good thing you're not Sammy Callahan, because he did not do that. He chopped him in the chest. And then some other bullshit happened. This match was trash, obviously, somewhat literally. There was one spot where the crowd, where like Bert was getting stuff under the ring, and he found like a Swiffer mop under there, and then the crowd was like chanting that they wanted him to use the Swiffer mop, and then he held it up like he was going to, and then he just threw it away and then gave the finger to the crowd like, I'm not using a Swiffer mop. And they booed him. And
why not do the tribute to Sid and grab the squeegee?
That wasn't the spot. It's not the spot, brother. Just like kicking him in the balls isn't the spot. So no Swiffer. Eventually, not to prolong this too much, Sammy just zip ties his hands behind his back and gives him the pile driver, and that's it. He ends the misery. Well, our misery, not Bert's misery. I'm sure Bert was miserable, but our misery. Yep. Buckshot Kid says, if it was me, I'd be hitting guys with the fucking lights. Sir Jam says, Sammy wrestling is a death machine. Also true. I'm not sure if Burt Macklin's still alive. I didn't check, but yeah. They didn't get that sponsor, so he didn't want to use it, referring to the Swiffer. All right. And Buckshot Kid's very excited about this because we get another package, and then we get Honor No More versus Bullet Club. This is the big, 5-on-5 thing. And apparently it's Tornado Rules. They never told anybody, but this is just an extension of what we just saw. Like, they go right from Sammy Callahan doing it to all 10 of these guys doing it. And Maria took a walk, by the way. After Honor No More came out, she just went back up the ramp and was like, see you guys, I'm not going to be a part of this. I got kids. So as Tan Oni Lorcan was calling up after the ramp, "They're my kids too." She just walked off and left him there. So this match was literal trash because it was a bunch of trash cans in there and 10 guys fighting each other. And don't anybody act like you could follow any of this or that you cared. Like, not only was this match one of those things that's like kind of difficult to watch because there's so many things that you could be focusing on, but think about this. This has just been this is like exactly what we've been seeing for months now. It's like all sorts of Bullet Club versus Honor No More, like promos, fights, matches. Like we've seen every permutation of this, and now it's coming down to a 10-man tag that's not even a tag. It's just 10 guys brawling with no rules. We just saw a match of guys brawling with no rules, except the one rule is Moose can't be there. So, what would have happened if Moose came down? He should have just came down, and then they could have explained what happened. If you're going to have Moose off TV, why don't you just suspend him in storyline? I mean, why? Really? So give a reason why we're not getting Moose, at least. So all this might have been exciting if we just, probably everybody is tired of Bullet Club and Honor No More at this point. Am I right on that? Okay.
It's overdone. They haven't done like anything to advance the story. Just matches.
Yeah. And there's usually not any stakes on them. It was just like, oh, we got to have a match this week, and then finally it was like, Scott D'Amore's like, all right, fine, we can have a match. And if Honor No More loses, you got to disband. And it's like, if you want to fire him, just fire him. I already said that on the episode when we covered that. But, so not only is everybody sick of it, they're already sick of seeing this type of shit. Maybe. I don't know. I can't speak for the fans of Chicago. Maybe they're bloodthirsty and they want more. But, yes, trash cans all over the place. Finally, Tall Ace Austin with Mickey Mouse gloves and Tan Oni Lorcan both pin Gallows at the same time. So Honor No More gets to stay and I guess presumably keep getting the wake-up call from Heath. So until there's a match with Heath where it's Heath and 4 other guys versus Honor No More, and whoever wins, something happens. I don't know. God damn.
I think they're getting a title shot now. A tag team title shot.
Ah, yes, that's right. That's why they both had to pin Gallows, right? Both of them at the same time, because they're the tag team. Yeah. All right. Well, after that package, then Mia Yim versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of this match. It was a match, there may have been a butterfly in the room, not sure. But I will say this. Tell me how you guys feel. Can everyone just please fucking stop with the whole that close? Like, if I see one more person do the that close thing, well, I don't know what I'll do. I'm going to keep watching it, so I can't make any threats. But, I mean, I just, like, it's not cool. It's never really been cool. And especially in this match, it wasn't even applicable. Like, I think Jordan Grace did a leg sweep, and Mia Yim, fell down, and Jordan pinned her, or like, and Mia Yim kicked her off real quick, and then Jordan, before she could sit up, or before she could get up, she sat up, and Jordan Grace ran and threw like a low clothesline, and Mia Yim ducked out of the way of it, and then Jordan comes up going, that close? Like, what, you were that close to hitting a person in a fight? Okay. That's supposed to be for like if you almost got a quick small package at the start of a match. But that wasn't this. And even if you are, that's so played out now. It's so cliche. It's so tired. Like, just stop it, will you? Stop it.
Or if it's like one of those things, the finishing sequences, like keep getting hit, barely kick out, and then you get a lucky pin, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. I just would like it to If that could just go away, that'd be fine. But what do you expect? It's just Jordynne Grace.
It's overdone. It needs to be put on the shelf for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, Jordynne Grace wins with Made in Japan. Not the Grace driver. It's called Made in Japan. And then afterwards, the most exciting part, Masha Slamovich music hits, and she comes out, and she gives Jordynne Grace the envelope. And sure enough, there's a picture of Jordynne Grace inside with the red X over. So, for a second there, I was wondering if she was going to do the thing where she, like, holds the envelope and then gives it to Mia Yim or something, which wouldn't have made sense, but again, Impact, so maybe. But no, she gave it to Jordynne. So, could this be the end? Could this be the end of Jordynne Grace as champion? Let's hope. And then we get another package. And it's our main event now. It's Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander. Can Alex Shelley fulfill his 3-week-long dream of becoming the Impact Wrestling World Champion? By
Find out
the Walking
right now.
No, he didn't do it. Yeah, sorry. Nice try, kid. Maybe next time.
Please try again.
Yeah. This is I mean, look. This is what these guys would do in a match. I'm sure if you were fans of either or both of these guys, you would be satisfied with what you saw in this main event. It was, like I said, if Alex Shelley was innovating stuff, he probably did it here in this match. I don't know. Unlike some other matches, I actually did watch this one, but as I'm watching it, my eyes are glazing over, and I'm just like the match is just passing through my brain. Like I'm forgetting. I'm just forgetting. Like here's a sequence I just forgot. Here's a here he's selling. I don't remember what he's selling now. I forgot what the move was already. It's just very Impact main event. Like I said, if you like these guys, this would have been satisfying for you. Finally, Josh Alexander hits the C4. It looked like it fucking killed him, so that was nice. And he wins. So, Josh Alexander. And no business afterwards. Nothing to make you want to tune into Impact next, which is, again, that's fine. Sometimes, I already said in this episode, sometimes it's okay for a match to just fucking end, especially if it is the main event. I can understand you want to maybe get people interested in watching your next episode of your TV show, but let's face it, they already know nobody's going to do that, so why even bother? Let's just go off the air with Josh Alexander celebrating as champion.
And plus, if you're already buying the show, you're going to be watching the free one anyway.
Buckshot Kid says, I like this match. Alex wrestled like a heel. This was Alex's best match ever. It probably was. And not only does he not have a great many singles matches, but, Josh Alexander doesn't really have bad matches. But yeah. I mean, a lot of times, even when you do, like, a babyface match, you still kind of somebody picks the heel spot a little bit. Maybe they don't do anything completely evil, but they're like more aggressive than the other guy or whatever.
You can't give that distinction of, okay, cheer this person instead of like is to tilt the crowd towards one person.
Right. So now if Buckshot Kid is saying that he wrestled like a heel, now if you ask me, that's the wrong role. Like, he's already nobody, the story is, can he win the big one? And you got to make a guy a babyface in that. You gotta get the people wanting to see him do it and get him close. And Josh Alexander was acting like kind of a dick in the promo, the contract signing promo too. Because even though he put him over, he's the one that said, like, I was a Chris Sabin guy and you can't win the big one, and he did. And, so you're already like putting that seeds of doubt. And then Alex Shelley is the heel in this. So you completely fucked off your character. And probably a lot of that was down to Alex Shelley. Which speaks about his wrestling psychology, which speaks about him knowing his place in the business and what he's supposed to bring to it. Anybody in the situation would have been happy to be like that underdog that everybody wants to see win. Maybe you didn't care that much about Alex Shelley going in, but it should have been Josh Alexander's job to get the people to rally behind him by being a dick. And we've seen that Josh Alexander has the capability of being a dick. He was in the North for how long? And that's a heel team pretty much, right? So you know it's there, but he just became a fan favorite. So now this would be the opportunity to, this is the kind of thing you really want to sink your teeth into as a performer. Maybe Josh doesn't feel the same way, but for me, or maybe there was agents directing this, or maybe Scott D'Amore wanted something different, or I don't know why. But for me, it would be like the challenge of the creative challenge of saying, how much can I get the people behind this guy? Like, can I get them even more invested in Alex Shelley winning? Can I make the people believe that actually his night tonight? Those are the things that as a performer you want to do. It's not just, no one ever just wants to go, let's just, we're main eventing this pay-per-view, so let's just do a bunch of moves and get out of here. I don't think people really think like that. They shouldn't. They should want to be able to tell the story, get the people involved, close the show, show why you're the main event, like all these things. And you can't even get the roles right. This is why nobody watches this shit, man. So there you go.
Emergence.
No one emerged. It was submergence. Everyone drowned watching this boring ass show.
Divergence.
I want to diverge into the plugs now because we're at the end of the show. There's nothing left to say. Nothing exciting is going to happen on the new episode of Impact. We're getting drowned in horrible RGB. They're turning up the saturation now. They're definitely like I vastly overestimated my army here. It seems like I'm fighting a one-man war sometimes with my simple hashtag campaign. But I will not go down without a fight. I will not let them win. I will not let the WWE's insistence on continuing to use lights empower them. Besides, Empower is branded for NWA, so they should not be doing that. Yes, a hashtag doesn't help me on YouTube, Buckshot Kid. I need you to get on Twitter and hashtag turn off the lights. But I'm not going to talk to Buckshot Kid because he's one of the ones that has been helping. It's everybody else. You got to help. Don't just like the tweet. Like, I need more than that. Liking the tweet ain't helping. I need the retweet. Retweet. Quote tweet. Hashtag turn off the lights. Turn off the damn lights. Damn it. Anyway. So you can find me on Twitter at OpinionHaver, where you can retweet the hashtag turn off the lights. Or you don't need me. You could just do it anytime you want. You could just tweet any hashtag turn off the lights anytime you want. Apropos of nothing. Just do it. But Twitter is where you will find me at OpinionHaver. And Instagram is a similar place where you will find me at OpinionHaver. And YouTube and Twitch. And I'm not on Facebook, but when I was, it was OpinionHaver. Anywhere you want to find me. PlayStation Network. OpinionHaver. I'm just OpinionHaver, okay? I have the opinions. And you can also find me at HMG doing Next Level Wrestling Review with Big Right Hernandez every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Of course, you're hearing the Impact Attack right now, so you already know that. And you just need to tell other people, especially about the hashtag turn off the lights. And you can also find me on the PWC Network every now and then with my good friends such as Jimmy T and Dr. Michael Jargo, PhD. And you've also got Chris Ames returning, who I've been filling in for, but I am no replacement for Christopher Ames. That's like Lambs with no L or BS first thing in the morning, bullshit first thing in the morning. That is, they are back, but you never know when I might pop up. So if you don't follow the PWC Network on any of your social media platforms or any podcasting platforms that you like to get updated, please do that. They're like a tag team partner for Hameen Media Group as well, and there's a lot of crossover. We need to get more HMG guys to come on our show. I'll go see if Jimmy wants to do an Impact Attack one of these times. He's been nice to invite me on any of these shows, and we're used to having a 3-man booth, so it wouldn't be nothing for us. We'd be able to handle it. We're not going to treat him like Moose and be like, you're banned from ringside, Jimmy. You can definitely take part in this. So that's just about everything I could possibly put over. But what about you, Brandon?
As always, you can find me at all the places at Miss Tia the Transarchist. And always every Monday night right here on the Impact Attack.
Okay. Well then, for Brandon, I have been the Vet, and we will definitely see you next week. Peace.
Whoop, whoop.